So, when the Prophet Muhammad and his followers had to leave everything behind in Mecca, their homes, their wealth, everything they knew, they weren't just moving. No, they were starting a revolution from scratch, which brings up a huge question. How do you actually build an entirely new civilization from the ground up? Well, the answer lies in this remarkable blueprint that was established in their new home, Medina.
You see, this journey, the Hijra, it wasn't just an escape plan. It was the laying of a foundation. It really marked the beginning of a whole new chapter in history, a shift from focusing on individual faith to actually building a real, cohesive, functioning society. And the challenge, wow, the challenge was immense. How do you weld together this diverse group of people, refugees and locals, in a brand new city?
The answer is found in three foundational pillars that the Prophet meticulously put into place the moment he arrived in Medina. And these weren't just, abstract ideas. They were concrete, deliberate actions that would go on to shape a society for centuries to come. So let's dive in and explore the very first of these foundational steps. All right, first things first, every community needs a center, right? A heart, a central hub. And for this brand new Muslim society, that heart was the Masjid, the mosque. But this was a headquarters unlike any other you could imagine.
I mean, you'd think the command center for a new civilization would be some grand palace, right? Ornate, impressive. But the reality? It was the absolute opposite. The very first masjid in Medina was incredibly humble. We're talking a roof made of palm fronds that leaked when it rained, and a floor of just bare earth that would literally turn to mud. But don't let that humility fool you for a second. This simple structure was everything. It was the house of worship, yes, but it was also the parliament building, the university, the military headquarters, the main charity office, and the community center all rolled into one. Every single crucial aspect of life radiated out from this one modest building. And this really gets to the core lesson of that first pillar. Its true power wasn't in the architecture, but in its purpose. It was about what happened inside those walls and the kind of people it produced. It's a powerful statement that the real foundation of a community isn't built with bricks and mortar, but with shared values and a unifying vision.
Okay, so with the physical center established, the next focus was all about weaving the social fabric. And this led to the second pillar, a concept so radical, so revolutionary, it was designed to bind a really diverse population together as one single family. It was called Muakhat. Now, this wasn't just a friendly greeting or a welcome to the neighborhood. This was a formal, binding pact of brotherhood. Each person who had migrated from Mecca, the Muhajir, was officially paired with a local resident of Medina, the Ansari. They became, for all intents and purposes, brothers. And to really understand just how deep this bond went, you just have to hear the story of Abdurrahman, an emigrant who arrived with literally nothing but the clothes on his back, and Saad, his newly assigned brother in Medina.
Saad's offer is it's breathtaking. Think about that for a second. He said, I will give you half of all my wealth. Not a loan, not a small gift, but half of everything he owned as a right of brotherhood. He even offered one of his own wives whom he would divorce so that his new brother could have a family. The level of sacrifice here is almost unimaginable. But Abdurrahman's response is just as powerful. It shows this incredible dignity and a burning desire to build his own future. He was empowered by the opportunity his brother provided, not just the charity. It reveals that this bond was a two-way street, built on both profound sacrifice and mutual respect and empowerment. You have to realize, this was a complete revolution against the existing social order. For centuries, everything in that part of the world was about your tribe, your bloodline. The Muakhat basically declared that the bond of shared faith was now stronger. In fact, for a while, it was so strong that these new brothers inherited from each other before their own blood relatives did. And as Imam al-Ghazali points out, you can't just legislate this kind of connection. It doesn't come from a law or a rulebook. It has to come from a deep, shared love and faith that just overflows into love for one another. It was truly a bond of the heart, formalized into a new social contract. So you've got a spiritual center and you have a unified Muslim community. But Medina wasn't an empty city. It was already home to other powerful groups, including several large and influential Jewish tribes. The third pillar addressed this reality head-on, and it's a game changer. Instead of conflict, which might seem inevitable, The Prophet established what's now known as the Charter of Medina. And listen, this wasn't some temporary truce. It was arguably the world's first formal constitution, a civil agreement that laid out the rights and responsibilities of every single group living in the city. The charter was built on 3 absolutely core principles. Number 1, complete religious freedom. The Jewish tribes kept their own religion, their own laws, their own property, their own customs. No questions asked. Number 2, mutual defense. An attack on Medina was an attack on all its inhabitants, and everyone was expected to defend it together. And number 3, a unified system of justice, with the Prophet as the final judge in disputes to ensure fairness for everybody. For the 7th century, this was just astonishingly forward-thinking. It was a blueprint for a multi-religious, multi-tribal state that was built on coexistence and mutual respect, not on conquest or forced conversion. It was virtually unheard of at the time. So, let's pull it all together. A humble community center, a radical brotherhood of faith, and a pluralistic charter for coexistence. These were the 3 pillars that formed the absolute bedrock of a new civilization. So, what's their lasting legacy? So to recap, you have the Masjid, which proves that your purpose is way more powerful than your presentation. You have the Muakhat, which shows that true unity can be forged from faith, even transcending blood ties. And you have the Charter, a masterclass in civic engagement and justice for all. And this leaves us with a final, really important thought. This was the blueprint for a thriving, diverse society almost 1.5 millennia ago. So it really begs the question, as we build and shape our own communities today, what are our pillars? What are the fundamental principles that are holding our world together?